You're listening to the AFTERBUZZ TV network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Dean Johnson.
From the AFTERBUZZ Studios in Los Angeles, California, presented by Maria Menounos and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies, this is AFTERBUZZ TV's Lindsay After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AFTERBUZZ TV's Lindsay After Show.
I want to be bad.
Grant, you look very happy that this song
you
is
know
playing.
who this is?
I wonder who that could be. Britney Spears?
Oh, I Want to Be Bad. Lindsay Lohan. I believe 2009.
Maybe she was saying that she wanted to make a bad single because this sounds really bad.
I don't know what you're listening to because I think it's great. So welcome to the Lindsay After Show. This is episode 3. Can you believe we're only 3 in?
Yeah.
And I'm Grant Rutter, and with me we have...
I'm Stephanie McGrath, guys.
And I'm Kylie Hodges.
So we started off with moving into this apartment, and it seems like she's going to be moving in for a very long time. Unfortunately, I only saw her move in clothes. What did you see other than her folding clothes and looking at things she never saw before and trying on fur coats with a large cigarette?
That is such a good point, Grant, because that's exactly what we saw, is boxes of 10 years worth of clothes. As she said, for some people they don't mean a much, but for me they mean a lot. I mean, you know, these clothes are very expensive, but you're right, we didn't actually see any of the furniture. I know that we did see later in the episode they went to go pick up, but what about all the other general things that you tend to move in the house besides clothes?
Yeah, I thought it was interesting that Lindsay is like, if this show doesn't work out for her, she could easily be featured in an episode of Hoarders. I mean, she has so much crap, and she's so disorganized with it. You would think if you're Lindsay Lohan, you could have hired a closet organizer at some point in your life.
She's so sloppy, and it seems that she doesn't even know what she has.
No.
And that's the thing, like, I mean, if you're going to move, you need to be super organized, and she has all this furniture coming in from Long Island and then in storage in LA. I mean, how does she know she even has the space for all of this, and if she knows what she even likes what she has? And before you move all that stuff in, and of course, when they went to go pick up the furniture on Long Island, Dina was there to greet them in another sundress.
Yeah.
Looking nice and done up,
Yes.
expecting the cameras.
Yes, and go ahead.
I think it's funny that Lindsay has just a bunch of clothes, and I think that just really shows that this is a woman who's lived out of a suitcase for years, and just people, like, designers are going to give her clothes. So obviously she's just been getting a lot of the things that at the time she wanted, but not necessarily would have needed. You know what I mean?
Yeah, good point. I see what
I
you're
mean,
saying.
she's been a wanderer, and I'm sure while she was like going through her party days, I mean, we all know that she's not allowed at Chateau Marmont because she was living there for so long and not paying the bills. So like,
recently, rumor has it though, she has been allowed back, and she was spotted there until early wee hours in recently.
really?
really?
She is sober. But that's just,
wow.
again, we
I can
have to be
walk
careful
there.
though. There's some other
I missed this.
there's some other radar online rumors that I want to just comment, I'm not saying they're true or false. Lindsay has actually responded back to one of them. But yes, as we all say, we can read things that aren't necessarily true. But yes, there was a rumor that she was there recently. So
That's very interesting.
she's allowed back.
Interesting.
Well, going into again how it was just the first scene was basically just a continuation of all of last episode, Lindsay wandering around her apartment with a bunch of shit. She ended up having to get a second assistant just to help her hang clothes. I mean, girl.
Yeah, I mean, the second assistant has no idea what she's in for.
No.
I mean, basically, a second assistant is really like a personal assistant to like the 10th power, right? It's like really doing like what nobody else wants to do,
Yeah.
correct? It's really just kind of like going to the pharmacy, picking up stuff. And so this girl was a week in, and she seemed to have nothing but positive things to say. How long do you give her?
I don't know. I feel like she's just going to be a little blip. Like,
Yeah.
in and out.
There is one question I want to bring up here, guys, and that brings me back then to one of the rumors. So this girl, Holly Taylor, as she was recently hired, as she just said, I was just hired the other day, I'm a new second assistant. There was a rumor that Radar Online put out Lindsay saying that she's recently fired Michael, her sober coach. Yeah, that was put out saying, and with the suggestion that he was only hired for this reality show.
Wow.
Then once it is, although he's a core part of her, which would all help, her health in general and her life after this. I mean, she's not, one would think, becoming sober just for a TV show, just to reignite her career. We're hoping there's an underlying intention. Generally, she wants to get better, right? So it makes you kind of question, are people being hired? We know Matt was just recently hired and went out to New York and everything. People being hired just for this show. Then
Well,
what
and who's
happens after
doing the
show?
hiring? That makes me think that the
team.
producers said, Lindsay, would you like to have a sober coach? We can produce you a sober coach. It's more like he was cast.
When I read that,
Interesting.
when I read that on Radar Online, I believed it. I really did. I said, yeah, no, it's probably true. It was probably for the cameras, because I just believe everything is so contrived anyway. And Lindsay, I don't believe she would have the patience to keep someone like that around. I really feel like after a few months, she'd be like, oh yeah, I got it, I'm good, and just that's not the reality. I just feel like she would be okay with letting him go. But E-Online did clear it up. They put a picture that Lindsay Instagrammed of the two of them, and there wasn't a friend involved. Maybe it was AJ in that picture. Did you
AJ
see
was
it?
in it, yeah.
But who knows when that photo was taken? So you
Well,
never know.
She did hit Twitter back saying, guys, really, are you talking about the same guy? And, you know, showed a picture of the two of them that I was with today. You know, get your facts, get your life, Radar.
Right.
But one just, I don't know, just question. Viewers, you know, comment down below with our YouTubes and let us know what you think personally. Are people just being hired for this production? Is this really a production?
Is her sobriety a production? She claims it's sacred, but if it's that sacred, then why are you making a TV show about it?
Well, you know what is a total production is Matt trying to do his job, the personal assistant, the first. He cannot get 5 minutes to talk with Lindsay, and I think it's totally realistic. 5 minutes at the beginning of a day and 5 minutes at the end, but she just will not have it. What do you think? Do you think she's just too caught up in trying to move in and it's just too much? Because moving is a pain, but is, of course, my opinion is she's just using that just so she can't talk to him.
Here's my opinion. Moving is a pain when you have a real job where you're working 40 hours a week and you're moving. When your only job is to move, it's not as big of a pain as it would be when you're doing other things in your life. But Lindsay's life is literally just about being sober. It's not like she has to go to work. For her, going to work is making this documentary, which means she just has to wake up and be willing to let people turn a camera on in front of her and just move.
That's it. Yeah, she can't do anything.
Shit.
I mean, in this episode, she went to an AA meeting, and it was the first time she went since she's been in New York.
And she's been sober 56 days. That's a long time to not attend an AA meeting.
Which I may say, though, I'm going to have to sit on the fence with this one.
Okay.
Even though I completely agree, from the outside, generally, we're watching this and we're like, girl, it's the only thing you have to do.
Yeah.
I mean, really, you're not working.
It's frustrating for me.
But you've got to take another point of view. You're also looking at an addict. As someone who, as you said, for you, who's a normal, when I say normal, but individual within the population who's sober, doesn't have addiction issues and stuff, isn't mentally ill. Yes, I mean, what you see, moving house, even though they do describe it as what was one of the top 5 most stressful, there's divorce, there's marriage. It actually is, it's number 4.
Wow.
But for Lindsay, for someone with a mental health issue, no, this is a pretty profound and a big adjustment, big thing.
Do you think it's just because there's a lot of
change? You've got to look at it
change?
different perspective.
Sure.
Yeah.
Why doesn't this girl have a moving manager and a professional organizer and a closet organizer and a team of people? Why? I mean, she can't do it. She can't do it. I mean, the massive amount of stuff and the clothes and everything coming from different places and moving across country. Maybe she must have somebody help her move stuff across country, but why is there not somebody in there doing this for her? She can't do it. I wouldn't even want to do all that. And I'm pretty organized.
Yeah, well, maybe that was one of the things that Matt wanted to actually bring up with her if she'd given him 5 minutes.
We'll never know.
You know what? That actually brings up a question that I've had in the back of my mind for a while, and I just keep forgetting to discuss it with you guys. Lindsay has said before she got her apartment, she's like, I won't get the keys for another 2 days, and that's 2 more days of living in a hotel, and that's money I don't have. Do you guys think she's like going broke?
I do.
And that's why she doesn't have all of these resources that you'd probably have to pay for.
Well, let's see. They got her the apartment. She's reliant on this $2 million allegedly is what she made for doing this.
Oh.
And I don't see where she had all the money to do everything else, like with the rehabs and these other films that she's in. I can't imagine they had large paydays for her.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm
not a financial advisor, but I assume she probably wasn't like smartest with her finances during all of her partying days. I mean, like the hotel thing, like she owed them money and wasn't paying them. So is it because she didn't want to or because she didn't have it? So, I mean, it would be helpful to have all these people in her life, but if the show isn't going to provide them for her, maybe she doesn't have them because she can't afford to have them.
Hence the factor we come back to, is everything being produced for this show?
Right. Mm-hmm. And I was watching with Matt, going back to the personal assistant, and I was wondering, has Lindsay even ever had one? Of course she has. She was taken care of as a child for many years, I'm sure. That's why she can't really do anything. But I mean,
and you
she
wouldn't
just
really
doesn't know
want
how
to,
to
in
work.
all honesty, trust Dina and Michael as to be really taking care of her.
No,
not at all.
but she doesn't know how to work with him. It's almost like she's learning how to like operate like with having an assistant. And it was like, doesn't she kind of have an idea of what it's like, the coming and going, the exchange of information, how invested those assistants are? I thought that was really interesting when Matt was like, you have to be so personally believe in and so involved with this person. You have to really believe in them. And it made me question why he even took her on. Would anybody blame him for walking away?
Yeah, I couldn't do it. She's really bad at communicating and really self-involved. When he had that short little conversation with her in her apartment, I mean, he didn't get to say much. It was just her attacking him for not having keys. She didn't even give him the opportunity to give his side of the story, but he also didn't try to give it. He knew that that was a lost cause and just said, okay, I'll take it. It's my bad.
He had the patience of 10 saints in that
Yes.
conversation because I couldn't handle it. I would have had
me
to tell
either.
her where to go, and that would have been it for me. But I really couldn't. I mean, I don't know if I could have ever dealt with that. I mean, just not even an opportunity to say, like, here's what's going on. I mean, nothing. What is the point?
I think Matt, though, what he's discovering, as you said, why would he take her on? I think from the outside you look, okay, it's just another celebrity. He's dealt with a lot of, demanding celebrities in the past as a personal assistant. But what he didn't realise, and for most assistants, in fact, I'm going to say nearly all, are not equipped, nor they've had the experience to deal with not just a celebrity, but an individual who was working through a mental health issue.
Yeah.
We're talking about addiction here. I know I'm going to keep on bringing it back.
No,
and
but that's
you're
a
probably gonna get sick
solid
of me.
point.
But you need
legit.
to remember, you're looking at two individuals. You're looking at Lindsay, who we all know as the actress in the tabloids. We know that Lindsay. We know the diva antics, and we see that and we're like, oh, I think I know that Lindsay. But we don't know really where's the line, where's Lindsay the person and Lindsay who's got a mental health issue, who's battling addiction. They're two different people, in all honesty. So it's really tough at the moment because we, as the viewers and as the people who have watched Lindsay grow up, we don't know the difference because she's on camera.
I see what you're saying.
Maybe that is a point of the show, is that they're trying to show that Lindsay isn't like us. And all these people who are like us, who are trying to help her, like, it just things don't get through to her the way they do to us. And it's taking all of these little freakouts and mishaps for us to finally put those pieces together and have like that moment of clarity, like, oh, this is a mental illness. Like, I don't know much about addiction and just recoveries in general, but I'm learning that, as you're saying, it's not just being sober and you're instantly okay. It's like a day-to-day battle. And every simple thing is harder for her than it would ever be for us.
Exactly. Yeah. And I think that what you said, and we'll touch on it later when we talk about the interview with Oprah, I'm making an assumption here that Oprah had some of the intention by making this docu-series is exactly for that. As she says, we want you to teach us. So whether that's also teach us and show us the other part of Lindsay and how we get the raw, real Lindsay. We've seen all this antics and her telling Matt, literally talking as though he's, completely like, Matt, you're making me feel like I work for you. Like all this so that you're just like, oh, it's cringeworthy.
It really is.
But Oprah doesn't want that. We know this. What this docu-series, what she wants, I'm thinking, is to bring out the Lindsay who's the addict, who those people out there in the community that are suffering from this mental health issue can relate to. We want to see that raw underneath that real. We don't want to see all this fluffy duffy, and I realise that's what we've got so far. Moving houses, apartments, I've got all these clothes, I've got hashtag, again, first world problems. We want to see Lindsay, the tears, the difficulty of going through AA meetings, of going through living every day and not wanting to, as she said, have a drink. But coming back then to her meeting with AJ, and as she's being stressed, she says, that's the only thing that's private. That's the only thing that's sacred.
Yeah, I don't want anything. This is my therapist on camera. I don't want the cameras at AA meetings, which, I mean, you can imagine production just must feel such frustration with that. I mean, it's a real person
ethically,
at
I
the
know
same
you
time.
can't do that with AA, but when she says, you know, going through this, that's the one private part that I have. Well, then what did you sign up to do? What did you think the doco-series was going to be? You don't want to be Kim Kardashian. You don't want this a reality show. So what, are we just going to film you moving?
Yeah, she keeps playing the victim as though she was, like, duped into something she didn't agree to. But, like, girl, were you asleep during this meeting where you signed a bunch of contracts saying, I'm going to make a docuseries about becoming sober?
You know what it is? I think Oprah presented this with her, and she wasn't going to say no to Oprah, and she really didn't think it all the way through.
I'm sure she had people telling her that it was a great idea, but she wasn't, like you said, she wasn't really processing what this commitment involved.
All right.
I think my favourite quote then from Oprah based on that is that I think, as Oprah said, Lindsay, I think you're very heart smart, but I don't think you're very brain smart. I think that's very true. The girl, she's an artist at the end of the day. She's very creative. She is talented.
Yeah.
However, brain, logic, thinking through consequences. She's more like a teenage boy.
She's an artist, she's talented, but she's also very late with production and very MIA and hard to get in touch with, to the point where she's communicating with Amy Rice, the director of this series, through text messaging. The day after she moved in, she needed to take all this time, and I could kind of relate to her, though, in that sense. Of course, I'm not committing to a reality show, or in this case, a docuseries, but I wouldn't really want anybody in my place the day after I move in. I have stuff to do. So in a way, I was like, okay, I can kind of get it, but it's definitely a crutch. That's what I feel with her, anyway. What do you think?
I mean, it's what she signed up for, girl. I don't know how else to...
She did commit to that production day, you're right.
Yeah, and then she uses the excuse that she has AA and dermatology appointments. It's like, okay, but you said this day was okay.
What I find super frustrating with her is she is someone that's grown up in the business and knows how it works, and yet she's committed to these days, these production days where the crew is going to be there. They're set up, ready to go, and she just blows them off. And like, she knows what that means to have a crew there. She knows what a production schedule is. She knows how it goes, and all the people involved that have to rely on her. And yet she still just is like, no, I just need a day to relax and just be peaceful. And I just find that so frustrating and so insulting to the people who really are doing everything. They're even helping her. They've made an agreement to help her move her stuff and build furniture or whatever they had to do to get her settled.
So I have another question. What exactly is her sober coach doing? Because we're not seeing much of him on, I mean, we see him on camera,
He was
but he's always just like in the background.
He was hanging shorts on hangers.
Right, but I mean, yeah, that's it.
But really,
like, you know, is he supposed to just monitor her and make sure she's sober, and that's that? Or is it supposed to be more on a therapist level? She did say she has a therapist.
With my therapist.
So who is her therapist? Like, I kind of, to me, I associated a sober coach being a therapist as well, but maybe that's not his role. Maybe his role is really just to babysit her and make sure that she is staying clean from substances.
It's total babysitting to me. He's just sitting on the couch every time.
Yeah.
I
He
think
doesn't look happy about it.
No.
Although I don't know if we're getting the full
Exactly.
picture
No,
with
we're
them,
not.
because every time that she says, I can't come there, she's with Michael, though. The cameras are off and she's not there. And I think that brings us back to the point that she made with the discussion with AJ, why she keeps us so sacred and so private. It's exactly that. The process, the thing that we want to see is her getting through and remaining sober. And that means spending time with Michael and going through, but she doesn't want the cameras on for that.
It's very frustrating for me as a viewer, and I'm sure for
we've
everybody involved.
Have we, correct me if I'm wrong, have we ever seen a one-on-one sit-down session with her and Michael?
No.
No. talking about how's
Yeah.
it going, what's the management, you know, what sort of process, what hurdles and challenge have we gone through and gotten through at the moment.
I feel like we are getting a little robbed of her sobriety process because because
That's
she
to
wants
her
to keep
own
it secret,
doing,
but
yeah.
it's like
Yeah.
that's what this is about.
Right,
I want
yeah.
more. I want to know what is happening, and she just shuts it out, and then it makes these episodes clearly very. It looks like it was a struggle to put this episode together because she's just not giving what this docuseries calls for.
The headache that she's giving production the
Yes.
whole time, I can only imagine. I can't move on until we discuss this next topic, and that's the outfits, the
Oh my
makeup,
God, I knew you were gonna
the
say that.
clothing,
Now, guys,
the
please,
appearance.
we take this, well, I know we all do take addiction and mental health very serious, and this still is serious, but as Grant said, it lends itself to, we've got to bring it up.
If
This girl,
if we're gonna be real and we're gonna really rip this episode and analyze it correctly, we need to discuss what we see.
what is she, if she's clearly dressing herself, she doesn't have a stylist because whoever it is, if they
Would
are,
never let her
they
do
need to
that.
fire her for her body, for her shape, just every
Her
color
shape.
match, whether it's the purple lipstick, whether it's the, I don't know if she was wearing a bra or not.
Oh,
Or her boobs
never.
just-
She never has a bra on.
No, you can see things. You can see details.
You can see things, and you can see size differences and drooping that I didn't know a 27-year-old could droop so low.
I don't even feel bad. I mean, someone could argue, well, she's in her own home and she's unpacking. You
No,
know
girl,
what?
put on a bra.
You have a crew there. Get it together. Even in those one-on-ones, I mean, the makeup. I mean, is there anybody on set?
I think the outfits that kill me the most are the ones where it looks like she tried. Like when she had her outfit, when she
puts
got
the
her
head-
keys, or that
Oh,
bandana.
Yeah, exactly, and she had
yeah.
the little black thing with the 3/4.
It was like the boyfriend pants, and then she had this like white blouse tied as like a chicken bra. So it was like
yeah,
this,
yeah.
but the pants were like low rise, so there's this weird, awkward like midsection showing, and then though I wrote this down in all capitals: blue pants, fupa.
It
Those blue
exists.
pants,
It
guys.
exists. It's really there.
She's 27 years old. Her body does. I truly believe her body does not look the way she made it look in those blue pants. Because
what?
when she was wearing these high-waisted blue pants and
Yeah.
the way they were squeezing and scrunching, it made her look worse than she looked.
Perhaps they were too small. Is that what you're saying? Or they were just not a good choice?
Overall,
They were a
she's-
horrible choice.
Yes.
I know why she's got. I mean, for a girl that has, we've all seen boxes and boxes, 10 years of clothes.
Right?
Why can she not pick an outfit that actually looks good on her?
You know what it is? I
It's
mean,
the girl that has too many clothes but has nothing to wear.
Yeah.
and she's and she's a slob. I'm just gonna say it. She is. The way she kept that hotel room with all the stuff and mounds of clothes on the floor, and then she blames Matt for like not organizing her stuff. I mean, she's a slob. She probably just goes and I know people like this who just pick things up off the floor. Like the cameras are here. I can't be late. We gotta go. And you know, just be all dramatic about it instead of preparing and laying out an outfit like we would do.
Yeah.
She's just a slob, and and it looks that way. And you can tell when somebody's sloppy because of the way they look.
Yeah, I don't think she's looking for a roommate, but I would never be her roommate.
No. She has too much
So don't even
stuff.
ask, Lindsay. Don't even ask me to be your roommate because I won't do it.
Oh, she was a mess. Anyway, let's move on to the best part of this episode, which was the coming of Oprah.
Oprah.
She rolled down the road with her. The executive producer of the Oprah show, I cannot remember her name, the blonde lady, the lovely blonde lady who was keeping tabs on everything and was, of course, in contact with Curtis. Was that it? Was that his name?
Craig.
Craig,
Yeah,
yes.
The
He
VP
is,
or the executive at OWN.
right,
Or maybe Pilgrim.
Pilgrim,
Yes.
yes. And so she rolled down that freeway, getting ready for business. And they really gave Oprah a lot of airtime to really give her thoughts on what she's been hearing, the reflection of the notes, and what she's going to do. And I thought it was really interesting that it was so raw and uncut. They really didn't edit her down.
No,
Yeah.
Oprah swearing was like the greatest thing to happen to me today.
Yeah. And the
We
best.
saw more of the reality side of Oprah,
Yeah,
I
I
loved
think, in
it.
this episode than we actually did with Lindsay.
Yeah, totally.
To some
Yes.
respect. I mean,
Totally.
everything that we saw, I felt in this episode of Lindsay's personality and her outlandish, her antics, we've seen that. That wasn't new.
That's
I
true.
thought we almost saw a different side, little bit side of Oprah.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't see Oprah this candid.
Dropping the F-bomb.
Yeah, it was effing awesome.
It said in the text that it was a scheduled drop-in. I believe that was the word they used. So in a way, I guess that was their way of saying, like, it wasn't Oprah coming and taking care of business and being like, I need to talk to you. It was more along the lines of, I guess that was like a plot point in the production that she was scheduled to come in.
Episode 3, I'm going to come to,
Right. So do you think we're going to see her again? I think we probably will see her towards the end. I think we need to see her more often because she got that show back on the rails because it was a mess.
Yes.
Up till this, it really was a mess, and we mentioned that really nothing was happening.
Yeah, and we saw a trailer for the next episode, or it could even be the rest of the season, right before the last scene at the end of the show. And I really thought that seemed more interesting than a lot of the things that we've seen from Lindsay so far. I mean, we're almost halfway through this series, and so far, Lindsay has an apartment, and she doesn't want to make the show that we're watching.
That's it. And
That's it.
And there's really no projects lined up. Oprah mentioned in the car that there was going to be a shoot scheduled for the following week that she could not commit to. And I want to know what that is. Was it a magazine shoot? Was it press? Was it photos? Perhaps own promos? I don't know. I wish they said what that was, what she didn't commit to, because she's supposed to be on this mission to get more work.
Yeah, I said this to you guys when we were off camera, but I'd really like to see what a call sheet for a day of shooting with Lindsay it looks like.
Yep.
You know, how much was she skipping out on that we should have seen by now?
But also, as we talked about, how much of this show, and it's got to be produced. I mean, at the end of the day, you are producing. Yes, there are going to be parts that you're going to have to produce to a certain extent. You know, some people would call it stage. But how much of this doco-series is really being fabricated?
I thought that this, now I interpreted the meeting with Oprah not as something that was like a scheduled, like, okay, Oprah's going to check in with Lindsay at this point. I think it was like, hey, Oprah, the show's going to shit. You should make a meeting with Lindsay. So it wasn't like a surprise drop in, but it was like Oprah said, okay, I'm going to intervene. So, I mean, it kind of seems like it would make more sense from what you said, but I had interpreted.
But perhaps they want the viewers to think it's more Oprah. Now, guys, what did you think, though, about the conversation once Oprah got there to Dina's house between her and Lindsay?
Well, I was a little distracted because Dina was there. So I had to see the interaction. The mother was there.
Dina's #1 fan, Grant Rutter. Here we are.
If you watched Living Lohan, you know the grandmother played a large role in that series. So glad to see her again. She looked good.
She's adorable.
Dina was very orange. And in fact, Perez always called her the Orange Oprah. And then they gave each other a hug and embraced. It was a nice moment in television history.
When Oprah walked into Dina's house, I wanted her to just point like, you get a show, and you get a show, and you get a show to her grandma and mom.
Or the fact that she referenced the house and there's that Justin Bieber. I was like, and I wonder what Bieber's doing with himself. Wasn't he just recently jailed?
Wait, did they say that? Wait, Oprah said something about him?
She thought
I missed that.
Yeah.
Oh, I missed that
like
too.
Guys, where were you at?
I told you, I was distracted, okay? But no, I mean, really, if she's going to give things away, she should probably pay off Dina's mortgage because that house is in and out of foreclosure. And it was true because that house actually, just a little information, before she got that DUI, which we saw in the previous episode, the week before that was when the bank said, we're going to start foreclosing on your home.
That's so sad.
So, and then here we are in the next episode, and there they are at the house. So who knows what's going on in that house? And, I mean, and that must go back to what Lindsay said in previous episodes about how she has to be the adult child and take care of all this stuff. It's been in the press allegedly that she's pulled that house out of foreclosure several times.
So maybe that when we talked about her finance, maybe some of that has actually, unfortunately, gone to supporting her parents.
Yeah, I would
But then
believe
coming back with the parents, all of us noted. Michael made a couple of appearances at the start of the episode, and then we have Mum at the end, which we'll see further on Dina next week, sitting down with Oprah, which I'm sure she's extremely excited about. But do we not agree? Michael, her dad, you can almost ooze the desperation is coming through the screen where just get me on camera. I know reality. I'm going to start a fight. I'm going to do
He's such a snake.
Airtime.
Yeah.
He's such a snake, and I feel like if I was a producer on the show, I would love him because he knows how to get the soundbite. He knows what the crew is there for. They're there for some juicy on-camera footage, and he's like, I'll feed it to you guys. Let me go strut up to Lindsay's assistant, try and stir the pot. And then he
You
goes,
said it.
hey, Matt, are you pissed? Are you going to quit?
Yeah.
Lindsay's
Are you
really
finding it
pissing you off, isn't she?
Yeah.
You know, he's just like feeding it to
You
him. It's
said
so
it.
obvious, and I
It's so
love
obvious.
it.
Yeah, no, I'm good. I'm happy about it too. I mean, he's so transparent.
Yes.
Yeah.
He wants another show, I guess. What was he on VH1? Was he on Couples Therapy? Was that it?
He was on
Celebrity
Celebrity
Rehab.
Oh, Celebrity Rehab.
Yes.
Yeah, the other one. Yeah. That's surprising.
I'm really surprised Dina hasn't been put in any rehab situation.
Yet.
Yet,
honey.
her
She is
mannerisms.
just-
Why would she need it?
With the way that we saw that little clip of her talking with Oprah in next week's episode, her mannerisms just seem off. Like, doesn't she just seem? She seemed very like
Well, she was like
aloof.
flitzing
I
her
don't know how to-
hair and just kind of like getting ready for, and it was.
But like a mom,
did you
a
catch that?
grown woman.
Did you catch that shot when when Oprah was about to enter and
Oh, and
Lindsay
she was
was kind of
getting-
adjusting
getting
herself,
herself ready.
and then they just cut to a quick shot of Dina, and she just like whisked her hair really quick, just like. She was ready to. She was
Yeah.
ready for the cameras. I'm so glad someone thought of putting that in because that to me is her. And as you know, I followed this family, and that to me is Dina.
But see, doesn't that like wave a red flag that that's like not normal for a mother? Like a grown woman acting like this like giggly teenage girl who doesn't have her shit together and can barely keep her children, you know, holding them accountable. And then maybe I am making assumptions that she relies on Lindsay for maybe financial support, as you like suggested. But I mean, those are all things that like a mom shouldn't be doing.
Well,
And again,
she's
guys,
an enabler.
Well,
Yeah.
no, it takes us more back to giving the viewers and everyone more of an understanding, okay? We are learning about Lindsay, and then that also means if Lindsay's not going to open up yet and be as raw and real as that we'd like her to see, we get to see more about, okay, where's it all come from? And that means the background, that means the family. They're not going to be necessarily real, but just displaying and seeing who their parents are is as
Yeah.
real enough as we can
Yeah.
get. Because as
Yeah.
you say, what kind of mum's that? You're like, wow, that's got to be tough for a kid to grow up then with if they're their parental influences. I mean, they're their parents. These are their
Just-
role models.
The few things that I do know about her personal life with her parents growing up, I mean, that tells me she's been handed a rough deck of cards. And that would make perfect sense why she's had addiction problems and why her life has been so messy.
I mean, and both allegedly again, but I mean, both her parents are addicts.
Yeah.
Is that
Not allegedly,
yeah.
they are addicts. Yeah. They've talked about it and it's come through. But coming back with the conversation with Oprah, I think some of the statements that Oprah made, which we talked about, was where do you think Oprah lies and sits when she says, as she mentioned, I don't really care if this whole production, falls through. She says, just let it go, and I will let it go if you're not prepared to do this. Do you think Oprah honestly, though?
I think Oprah was being a producer and she was saying, look, we have some footage so we can still do a special. We might not have the series, but at this point we can do like the days after rehab, Lindsay Lohan. Like they can still do something. So and any producer would. They're not going to throw away what they already have. And so at that point she was like, well, we can make something out of this. We have a few sound bites. And that was it. I wonder how many episodes were ordered for the show
Originally?
originally.
Like, do you think it was more than 8?
I do.
Yeah.
I think it was probably 10 or 12.
I wonder if Oprah said that to kind of light a fire under Lindsay's ass. Because she knew that by saying that would make Lindsay want it more. Like Lindsay bitches about, oh, I've never done a documentary. This is so hard. I'm not used to it. But like, obviously she wants to be on camera and she wants to be seen. So once it's like, it's dangled in front of her and she knows that she can have it, she can play hard to get. But once it's pulled away, she's like, oh, wait, no. Hang on. I'll play ball.
Right. 'Cause Oprah said, she made it seem like it was Lindsay's decision.
Yes.
And it
Yes.
is and it isn't. At this point.
It comes, I mean, we talked about it briefly last week when I was saying about individuals, celebrities in particular, when they go through an addiction and then the rehabilitation stuff. There's so many people, as Oprah mentioned, so many people that their whole entire income, though, rests on Lindsay. When someone has a team and a production, you let them down. And as she said, Lindsay, you know this, you're a professional woman. It's not just you if you want to cancel this. You let down a team of people. But that also means the reason you've let them down is because that team of people, including Oprah, income, money, investment, and time has been put on you. You don't get better, you don't get what we want, well, then it all comes down. So it really comes, again, you've got to always question whose intentions. Who do they really want to see Lindsay healthy and getting through this? You know, if she was really struggling and think this is going to interfere, we're going to let it go. Or, no, we've got to get her back onto schedule because boy, we've invested so much money into this.
Yeah, are they losing an investment?
I agree with your point exactly. I mean, I questioned from the beginning why Oprah would think that this would be the appropriate time for a show like this.
Well, and you mentioned earlier
to go to your point. I mean, like, whose interest is it in?
Yeah,
absolutely.
I mean, talking about, and I guess we sort of talked about, we want to bring this up for news and gossip, which is the ratings.
Yeah.
And talking about the series. And then we all know, though, that OWN Network has been struggling. And it's actually, even though Lindsay's show, which as of last episode, it dropped 24%. So it dropped down to,
That's
I think
a
I had
lot.
0.56, coming from 0.63 million viewers. But previous, the shows that were airing in this time, it's actually an increase.
Really?
So the Oprah network, the OWN network at this time slot has actually been struggling. So even what Lindsay's getting it's been dropping, but it's better than what they had.
That's very
So just, again, just putting these questions out there, making people think about the true intentions.
OWN, at least in my area, is extended cable, so it's not readily available like the big four networks. But when it comes to someone who was such a star and made so much money in films and has such a following that is the entity of Lindsay Lohan, to have these ratings, is it scary for the future of her career that so few people really do care to see the personal side of her? Do you think it's a scary time for her career or no?
No, I think only because how relevant has Lindsay been lately? I mean, as far as like how hot she's been like in the tabloids and stuff, I mean, not much has been happening. She hasn't, the last movie she shot was with the Canyons. I think they filmed that like 2 years ago or something. So, I mean, I think it's just a matter of once she actually restarts her career again, it'll be fine, but she hasn't been around.
Yeah, but she's been turning that key a lot. I mean, she did her Saturday Night Live.
It's true.
She's done
Chelsea
a lot of things. I
Handler,
mean,
yeah.
you know, I mean, it's like, is the engine going to start or is it not at this point with her? And I mean, it's just, if you have someone that's such a mega celebrity in the celebrity world, and if you type in LIN on Google, Lindsay Lohan's the first thing that comes up.
Yep.
But yeah, it's like, the people don't care. The people don't care to see her show for her namesake.
Have the people become almost desensitized? Like, are we so been overexposed with all of Lindsay Lohan's, antics, her DUIs, her jail things, that people are just like,
Yeah, I think
again,
people are
are
over
we on
it.
this again?
I mean, Sunday nights are tough anyway, so to have to watch something that's so hashed out, that's been hashed out, with people have given her so many chances, I guess people, and I don't really blame them, are just watching something perhaps more entertaining. I don't know.
Or is the show not real enough yet, as we said? Like we've all mentioned, it's really bringing Oprah in is going to be the only ratings plus for this episode that people are going to draw in. Unless she gets real, unless this girl talks about the most private, sacred thing that she won't let the cameras on, which we were all kind of thinking this whole docu-series was about, it's not worth watching.
You're absolutely right.
Lindsay, I can go down to my local Goodwill store and I can dress up like you, or I can unpack all the bags thing. I mean, you're not giving me anything to tune into.
You're right.
I think the next episode is going to take a turn. Well, now I'm jumping into predictions. Sorry. Do we want to go to predictions?
Your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
Oh, that's
Thank
new.
you, Steven.
Ew.
Oh, we didn't make a note to him. Sorry. Steven
Hi,
or not.
Steven. Thanks for
Jason.
being cool for the past 38 minutes back there. I was thinking about this. I mean, the last 3 episodes, like I said, to me, not much has happened. So if they've managed to make 8 episodes about this, episode 4 has to be a turning point. It has to. I don't know how much more they can stretch the moving and the chaos and the stress any thinner.
I want it to be true. I think it would make a great story linearly, but I don't know. I think we're going to see the interview, the sit down with Dina, And that's going to be very interesting because Dina had an interview with Dr. Phil, as I've discussed almost every week now. That was a hot mess, and I enjoyed it so much. But I just don't know if she's going to act that way with the Mighty O. So I'm really curious to see how she's going to handle the sit down. I think the first 2 or 3 questions are going to be very pageanty type answers, and then Oprah's going to be like she already asked a real question.
Yeah, we heard
did
her
you fail
ask,
your daughter? Like, did you fail your daughter? Was that the question?
Did you feel like you failed as a mother?
Yeah,
as a mother.
As a mother, yeah. And then so she's gonna just snap
some...
Dina right into reality, and I think everyone could use that.
Good.
She might just
what
use
Oprah's for.
Yeah, one of her lines, which Oprah said, "Hey, Lindsay, cut the bullshit."
Yeah. Woo! Yeah. God, I love Oprah. She's so cool, guys. She's so cool.
Lindsay went on Jimmy Fallon when she was promoting the show, and she was her life coach. But I mean, I think it was more along the lines of like just to give her a title. I don't really see those two really meeting on the regular.
Lindsay called Oprah her life coach? I feel like Oprah is everybody's life coach.
I think that's kind of what she meant. Like, it's like, oh, yeah, she is in some realm. But I felt when Oprah intervened and when she was sitting down with Lindsay, she really was almost like the voice of reason. I felt like God was speaking to her, like, you need to put this together. You need to move here. If you want this, you need to do this. And it was all true.
And it was also like on camera, for the record, I'm getting you to A, sit down and tell me you want this. I'm giving you the option, you can pull out now, but you're saying on camera, I want to stay. I'm also asking you on camera, which is pretty difficult, but you're either lying or you're not. Have you been sober? She put the 2 hardest questions she could have done, and she documented all. I mean, we all know Oprah's not dumb. No. Oprah is a smart woman, and that's why she came in that she said, I'm going to put these 2 questions. So if it backfires, it doesn't backfire on me. Straight on Lindsay.
Oh yeah, she's the producer. She knows what she's doing.
Exactly.
Last point is my prediction as well. The most interesting thing of all the promotion for this show was the point where they asked the sober coach, is Lindsay sober? And he had that moment of pause, and I think that moment is next week. Yes. So I'm really dying to see the continuation of that, and I want to see what's the deal. Do we know? Will we ever know? Who knows? All right, where can we find you guys?
You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at the Kylie Hodges.
And guys, you can find me at Twitter at host McGrath, and you can also find me on Facebook at Stephanie McGrath.
And you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Grant Michael R. Thank you for watching.
See you guys.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.
Thank you for watching AfterBuzz TV on YouTube. For more of your favorite after shows and interviews, subscribe to our channel here, and be sure to share your opinion on the episode in the comment section below here. We'd love to see what you guys are buzzing about. Thanks again. Buzz you later.